Hey everybody, Jennifer Roberts here, Pod Queen, and I have my husband with me. Say hi to the viewers, sweetie.
Dwayne Roberts.
Are you the Pod King?
No, I don't want to steal your thunder.
That whole show thing didn't work out?
No, my Pod King thing kind of fell apart.
Yeah, the pitch didn't work out. Doesn't have the same ring, I've already told you that, sweetie. You can't shadow me, you gotta start your own deal. He's my boy. My sweet husband is so kind to be on my show today because he has bronchitis. Give a little pity look. Poor Pastor Dwayne. So, yeah, don't do that, okay? We've got a camera on, no coughing, none of that.
Excuse me.
All right. So, honey, we've talked about marriage because, well, we're married. So we've talked about this before.
Yes.
And so tell me and our viewers, what are some of your thoughts you have about being a husband?
Perfect.
Do you have any?
I'm going to focus my thoughts and conversations today on single men.
Come on.
And then husbands. And I'm just going to share some of my thoughts. So ladies, I would encourage you not to use what I'm going to say as a way to beat up on people. As ammo. But we know from Jennifer's little YouTube Pod Queen site that
huge.
This huge site that guys do watch this. So I'm addressing you today.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. We don't have to have closet viewers. Unashamedly, you watch it, and that's all right.
I'm going to talk to you from Ephesians 5, and this is a powerful portion of Scripture, in my opinion. So therefore, just as Christ is subject, the church is subject to Christ, so let wives be to their own husbands in everything. And then he says, husbands, this is Paul, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself to her. So, husbands, this is Ephesians 5, verse 25. Single guys, if you want to be married, I want you guys to look at this verse. This is powerful and weighty. Paul points to Jesus, and he says, as Jesus has laid down his life, as Jesus has become a servant, as Jesus has taken his own rights, laid them aside to actually get down and serve the church, Paul points to Jesus and says, husbands, that's how you are supposed to be.
That is weighty.
It is.
Yeah. So,
your wife, your future wife, it is not her job to serve you, to make you great. So she is not your mate for the purpose of serving you. The service, the most profound service, is to come from the husband unto the wife. The example of Jesus is given to men to actually be like Jesus in regards to the husband and wife relationship. And this, in my opinion, should not be taken lightly.
Right, right.
And I think that our view of what it means to be a husband needs to be, I think, a little bit tweaked and a little bit changed.
Yeah. But one thing that's positive in that, Dwayne, is as I'm loved like that, I want to serve back like that. So it creates, don't look at me like I don't, because I do. No, but it creates...
I'm learning something here.
but it creates an atmosphere in my heart where I'm like, I'm not being taken advantage of.
Right.
I want to pour my life out too.
And I think it's the issue of leadership. So if you set a culture in your home, but let's go leaders in business, leaders in the church, whatever type of culture the leader sets, that's the culture that will exist. So if I'm hard-nosed, if I'm in the home, if I'm hard, if I'm demanding, I will not have a wife that freely responds to me. And then there's a good chance she will be like that to the children.
Right, right.
So if I'm demanding, if I'm hard, if I have a list of rules...
You can't be pleased.
Yeah. Then I will not have a beautiful flower in what's coming forth in my life. But if I am... Because here, let's just go down.
Come on, let's use the word. Wash me with the word, baby. Wash me.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
We're just going to jump down to verse 29. Because I can't preach a message right now. We're on a very tight schedule. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it just as the Lord does the church. So the issue of how Jesus actually expresses his heart to the church and what Jesus does to breathe life into the church, Paul again uses that as husbands. So the two words he uses to nourish and then to cherish. And nourish means that you bring life. So are your words and are your acts of service, or is your generosity, is it producing life in your wife?
That's good.
Basically, is your wife happy? Yeah, I mean, there's seasons, there's trials, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, does she know that I have her best? And in my ministry, do I still pay attention to her? So we're just in a crazy season in life right now, like in regards to schedule. And my wife has gone above and beyond in serving me right now. And I'm aware of that. I'm like, Jennifer, your sacrifice in this last season is incredible because of what I'm doing right now. But I'm hoping that's coming out of love that I have sowed into her. And saying, no, honey, I want to get behind you. And I want to help support you and call you out. And then she's doing that because of a little bit what I've done to her.
It's the overflow.
It's the overflow.
Absolutely.
So nourish means the issue of actually speaking and then ministering life. And at the end of the day, I want my wife to be great. I want my wife to be awesome. And so my wife has a calling on her life to be a communicator, a preacher, to be an influencer. And I recognize that. That was one of the first things I recognized as a single in her. And so I want to make my wife great. I want her to have that influence that God has given her. And I want her to speak to the issues that the Lord has put on her heart. And so as a husband, I believe that's part of my job. Is to actually find out, Jennifer, who are you? And then how do I make you great?
And you do that well, honey.
Thank you. But I believe it's my job. You know, and then the issue of cherish. And that to me is, at the end of the day, does my wife know that she's important to me? And guys, if you're selfish, you need to stop it. You really do. And I know it's a journey.
We're all growing in love and sanctification and all that.
And when you have kids, you're going to find out how selfish you are. But guys, I want to tell you, it's not about you. And it's not, in marriage, in dating, it's not about you. And I think part of the job of a husband, and then even somebody in the dating experience, is let that woman know she's of value and important. And you be the one that pursues day 1, and then you be the one that pursues day 20. I mean, year 20. You pursue. You know, you make her feel important, cherished, and valued. And without her, your life is over. That is very, very important. And guys, I'm just saying, it's a selfish way to approach a relationship. What I mean by that is, if I will make Jennifer the center of my life, if I will tell her in every way I know how to, and I've done this great some seasons and some seasons I haven't, and she's let me know. But if I make her important, then it will alleviate a ton of arguments, bad days for my wife, stresses in life.
Our home becomes a place of harmony.
Totally. So guys, figure out what is the love language, figure out the communication, and then make your wife know that she's the most valuable possession. And if she's not your most valuable possession, get rid of any other competing possession and make her the center of your life.
Absolutely.
And if you do that, it's going to alleviate tons of mess, tons of fights, tons of miscommunication, and she will be happy, and then your home will be happy.
That's good, honey.
No, it's the Bible.
It's the Bible. It is. And well, we'll talk about that another time. About actually, your prayers get answered when you're doing it this way. 1 Peter 3 talks about the man who didn't treat his wife properly has a ceiling over his prayers, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
Ooh, not good.
Totally. And speaking to our IHOP family, guys, fathers, husbands, if you don't treat your wife right, your prayers, your job is hindered.
That's good.
So you 1 Peter 3, what's the reference? I don't know. You'll find it. Go find it. But if your prayers, if you're not treating your wife right, you're wasting your time at IHOP, basically. And I understand that's an intense statement.
But you mean it.
But that's what the Bible says.
Right.
And so, guys at IHOP, team at IHOP, friends at IHOP, make your wife your priority, and all of a sudden there will be an open heaven over your life.
No,
your prayers will go straight to the throne room.
Yeah. And I want to say this. We're out of time, but I just need to say this. What he's talking about, he does. This isn't just Bible study in front of the camera. Dwayne's unwavering belief in me still gives me butterflies and I'm weak in the knees. I mean, there are times where he grabs me by the shoulders and reminds me who I am. In the midst of circumstances that feel like they're not leading to who I think I am, Dwayne calls me forth, reminds me, calls me higher in God, and I feel safe in that. And at the same time, I feel like I can take risks, I can be who God has made me to be, and he becomes my biggest champion. Now, we haven't done it perfectly, and we're on this journey still. You know, we've only been married almost 21 years. Yeah. But I want to tell you, he's sincere in this. And I love you, honey. I appreciate you doing that. For real. I mean, we joke a ton, but you the big dog.